So guys, welcome back to Case 4 of Sherlock Holmes, called the Abbey Grange affair, and we'll jump right in, shall we?
The game is afoot, not a word. Into your clothes and come.
The game is afoot.
I'll wait for you in the sitting room.
Wake up, you lazy bitch.
I've just received a note from Inspector Lestrade, a letter from the suburbs. He is in need of my presence. Whenever he has asked for my assistance, it has always turned out to be entirely justified. I fancy that every one of his cases has found its way into your collection.
To his books.
They all seem worthy of...
However, I regret your fatal habit of looking at everything from the point of view of a story instead of a scientific exercise.
Oh, Holmes, you...
I beg your pardon, I digress. It would be much better to examine this letter than to try to convince you.
Where's the letter? Titty woman there? Why is Titty woman still there?
The letter is on the table, Holmes.
This
You
table?
should take a look.
Oh yes.
I can tell from Lestrade's handwriting that he was in a hurry when he wrote this letter. A wax seal with the monogram
E.B.
The Brackenstall family coat of arms.
They're going to be rich and famous, this Brackenstall family. My dear Mr. Holmes, I should be very glad of your immediate assistance in what promises to be a most remarkable case. Something quite in your line, except releasing the lady, I will see that everything is kept exactly as I've found it. But I beg you not to lose an instant, as it is difficult to leave Sir Eustace there. 3:30 AM. In Kent.
What is it, Holmes?
Promising, as always, it appears to be a case of murder.
So you believe that Sir Eustace is dead?
I should say so. Lestrade wouldn't have sent for me for less. His writing shows considerable agitation, and he is not an emotional man. These people belong to high society. The quality of the writing paper, the EB monogram, their coat of arms. The crime was committed before midnight.
Holmes,
Getting his shit ready.
how can you possibly tell?
Well, it is all thanks to Lestrade. He wrote his letter at 3:30 in the morning. Imagine the chain of events before that. The local police had to be called in. Scotland Yard was notified. Lestrade himself had to make haste there, and finally compose the letter he sent to me. All of that makes for a fair night's work.
It makes sense. Lestrade also speaks of the woman he released.
That seems to indicate that she had been held somewhere during the crime. Much time has been wasted. Let us find a cab and go to Abbey Grange immediately. I live in hope of an interesting morning.
Ah, Mr. Holmes and Dr. Watson, here you are. I'm very glad that you have come, but perhaps I should not have troubled you after all.
And why is that?
Lady Brackenstall has come to her senses, and she has given so clear an account of the affair that there is not much left for us to do. You remember that Lewisham gang of burglars?
What, the three Randalls?
Exactly. The father and two sons. It's their work. They stole a silver service, which is of great value.
Sir Eustace Brackenstall is dead, then?
Yes. His head was knocked in with his own poker.
A violent act of aggression.
Yes.
Doesn't
the
fit
poor
with
lady.
burglary, does it?
She has had a most dreadful experience. She was assaulted and tied to a chair. But I think that you would best see her and hear her account of the facts. She's in the morning room with her maid to raise her right.
Where is the body of the deceased?
In the dining room. We haven't touched anything.
All right, I'm going to examine it.
Very good, Watson.
Very good, Watson. Oh shit, I didn't mean to go in there yet.
Ladies, allow me to introduce myself. My name is Sherlock Holmes.
Oh, she's
I'm
had a
assisting
right
Inspector
Shayna.
Lestrade in this investigation.
Mr. Holmes, I am the wife of Sir Eustace Brackenstall. We were married only a year ago.
Alarm
I'm
bells.
sorry for your loss. Please accept my deepest condolences.
I suppose that it is no use my attempting to conceal that our marriage has not been a happy one. I fear that all would tell you that, even if I were to attempt to deny it.
Not been a happy one. Fresh bruises. There's going to be old bruises as well. The Australian. Old bruises. Thought so.
Can you describe to me the events of yesterday evening?
Is it really necessary? I have already told Inspector Lestrade all that happened.
Yes, madam, it is.
I will tell you then. Sir Eustace retired about 10:30. I sat in this room until after 11.
They're calling him Sir
absorbed in a
Eustace,
book.
and she's married to him.
Before I went upstairs, I entered the dining room to fetch a candle and... oh God.
Please, go on.
As I approached the French window, I found myself face to face with an elderly, broad-shouldered man who had just stepped into the room. Close behind the first man, I saw two others. One of them struck me a savage blow with his fist and felled me unconscious to the ground.
And
Oof.
then?
When I came to myself, I found that they had secured me tightly to a dining room chair. It was at that instant my unfortunate husband entered the room.
He fought with the intruders?
Yes, I think he had heard them, for he was holding his stick. But they were three, and he eventually succumbed. One of them, the elder one, struck him a terrible blow with the poker. I
Killed him.
fainted once more. When I opened my eyes, they had withdrawn. Then my brave Teresa came to my assistance.
Did these three villains steal anything?
Yes, I found that they had taken the silver from the sideboard, but you can see for yourself in the dining room.
You mentioned that your marriage was not a happy one. Was there anything specific that was troubling you?
He was not a nice man when he was drunk, and he suffered from dark moods, but nothing else.
Bullshit.
The bruises on your hands are at least 1 week old. Your husband caused those bruises?
Oh, do you? Yes, he did. He was very angry at the time. Out of control. Again. Sir Eustace was a drunkard. To be tied to such a man for life is worse than death.
I think she's got something to do with
Your
it.
ladyship?
Oh, what a horrible thing to have happened.
See, there's a newspaper with that in there, so she could easily. Tall and broad-shouldered.
The description of the Randall gang provided by Lady Brackenstall is identical to the one in the Times article. These scratches are most definitely made by the picture frame. This is Sir Eustace's safe. There may be something important inside. I must ask Lady Brackenstall to open it. This photograph of Lady Brackenstall and her maid Teresa was taken at a port.
But which one?
So the lady and her maid came from Australia a year and a half ago on this ship.
Hmm. Let's talk to her again.
Lady
Open it.
Brackenstall, could you open this wall safe?
No, it is my husband's safe. I do not know the combination.
We have to open it. Your ladyship?
Let's talk to Teresa.
Teresa, I would like to hear your testimony.
Certainly, sir.
She's not going to sound different in front of her. She's old. Like these are two are lovers. Vinegar smell. Alright, to resuscitate. Office turn. But why could I only see it from there? Working hands.
As I sat by my bedroom window, I saw 3 men in the moonlight down by the lodge gate. But I thought nothing of it at the time. Oh, if I'd known.
And
Bullshit.
then?
I went to bed, and it was more than an hour after that I heard my mistress scream. And down I ran, to find her tied to the chair and him on the floor with his head smashed. That's all I know.
Oh, what a horrible thing to have happened.
I think it's fake, it just smells funny, doesn't it?
The body is still in the dining.
There we go.
You should examine the body of Sir Eustace Brackenstall.
So, Watson, what have you learned from examining Sir Eustace's body?
Well, I can confirm that the death was instant. Sir Eustace was facing his attacker when he received the blow to his head. There are no other apparent injuries.
Looking for something on here.
These wine bottles are... This candlestick is valuable. It is interesting that it was not also stolen.
Hmm.
An empty silverware box. It appears that the intruders have stolen the contents. A bottle of wine is missing here.
Oh, so a bottle of wine's
Criminals did
missing.
not thoroughly ransack the house. They only took a little silverware. The hunting scene. This door leads to the upstairs bedrooms. Apparently the criminals did not venture there.
Oh, okay.
A decanter standing next to the open bottle. An inseparable pair indeed.
Why is there 3 glasses?
There is beeswing at the bottom, as if the wine had not been decanted before being poured. This glass has some wine traces, but no visible beeswing. This glass has some wine traces, but no visible beeswing. It is rather strange that only one of these glasses has dregs of beeswing inside it, while the other 2 are clear. Chateau Calon Ségur, French wine, Grand Cru.
Bit of them in the body.
The head was cracked with the force of the blow. That must be the murder weapon. Quite a large stick, a formidable weapon. Barefoot, he had therefore been in bed and did not have time to fully dress. It is covered in blood. Sir Eustace might have struck his head upon it while falling from the blow. That is one possible explanation.
Hmm. I made an accident. The 2 people drinking wine out of their glasses. One of the 3 probably prefers wine with beet swing. Hmm. I'm thinking it's 2 people. At the moment it's that, innit? All other clues to say otherwise.
Please.
Shut up.
There are 3 glasses on the dining room table. I was wondering if...
Oh, I forgot. When I came to myself the first time, each of them had a glass in his hand. They might have been a father and his 2 sons. They talked together in whispers, and then they left.
Your ladyship? Let us try to open this safe. This safe can be cracked. I only have to pay attention. The dial will vibrate when it is set to the correct number.
What's inside the safe?
It is common practice to keep one's
Jesus.
valuables in a safe behind a painting. It should not really pose a challenge for a criminal. Antique coins, possibly of value, but they're scattered without care.
Medical report. Current physical and mental state is of great concern. There are several signs of hepatic decomposition. Last time we met, your skin, eyes were bloodshot and your skin was tinged with yellow. Particular odour from your breath that is common in those suffering with liver damage. The leg cramps you have described to me are caused by an alteration to the nervous system, excess of alcohol. This is major alcoholic.
Sir Eustace's doctor speaks of his violent behaviour.
Yes, Sir Eustace was an extremely violent man. A detestable human being, to be more precise. It is true that he once threw a decanter at me, and all because I dared to stand up to him in defence of my mistress. Sly
Ooh.
devil. God forgive me that I should speak of him so now that he's dead, but a devil he was, if ever one walked the earth. We met him only 18 months ago. She'd only just arrived in London. Yes, it was her first voyage. She'd never been from home before. Wonder with his title and his money and his false London ways. If she made a mistake, she has paid for it, if ever a woman did. She doesn't have any friends here, so it was specially hard.
It's these
for her.
two. Definitely these two. It's to be. The Brackensdale married Sir Eustace shortly after arriving in England and remained at home during that time.
Please leave.
I'll go talk to Watson about the medical report. Oh,
What do you know about Sir Eustace, Inspector? What was his reputation?
A charming man when sober, but an absolute demon when he was drunk. Such moments he was apparently capable of anything. Why, once he splashed fuel on Lady Brackenstall's dog and set it alight. Another day he threw a decanter of wine at Miss Wright's head.
The alcohol seemed to madden him.
To the point that we were forced to intervene several times to avoid a scandal. Have you found any interesting clues?
that's more interesting.
This house.
It appears that the bell rope was cut by someone taller than me.
Oh, the fucking chair.
Sailor's knots. That's interesting. This rope was handled by the murderers. We need a scent hound to follow their trail. I will take it with me. This is the chair that Lady Brackenstall was tied to.
This case is a simple one, isn't it?
Right guys, I'm going to leave it there for part 1. We'll pick it up in part 2 and continue with the investigation with Toby and finding that scent. I'll see you in the next one. Sayonara.